Welcome back. I'm C.L. Miller with Interlude Press, and we're here. And Kate Fierro just joined us. Very good timing. Um, we're here again this time to talk about our 2015 title reveals. We've got a few novels set already for next year with the authors, talk about them, announce them, and talk a little bit about what it took to get from fan fiction, and well, no, not all are from fan fiction. We've got some original in here too, right? Yes. So how they got to this point. I've got a dog pulling my computer. I apologize. I'm going to unplug. So with us today, we have the mountains can't wave, but over there where you see the snow-capped peaks is Kat Beldon.
Hello.
Also known in the Tumblr world as
Knits. You may know me as Knits, but I am in fact Kat Beldon. Hi.
And next to her, having just gotten back to us in time, and I lectured everyone about not having pets in the room, and mine followed me into the barn. Oh, we lost her again. Well, hopefully she'll come back. That was Kate Fierro making a very brief appearance to talk about a novel we're very excited about. We'll hold that one for a bit, and hopefully she'll be able to get back in again. And we also have a familiar face. Lila Suzanne joined us earlier today to talk about Pivot and Slip, which comes out next month, and she's already back to publish it again in 2015.
Here again, also known as a lilac tree, in case you forgot. I'm back again.
And last but certainly not least, our dear friend, Mims. Mims, I want to say this right. I want to say it's sort of British, but I'm so punch drunk at this point, I'm not sure it's going to work. But let's try this. Mimsy Hell. No, that's not it. We'll just say Mimsy Hell. Correct.
Yes, hi guys, I'm Mimsy Hale. You know me on Tumblr as Borogroves.
So we're really excited about this, that we're already talking about 2015 titles, and in fact, we have books in line and on calendar till just about the very end of the year. We've almost got the entire year booked with titles, but these are in. We have the manuscripts, which means we can announce them, which is really exciting. And you know what? I think we should start because we're also going to be talking about some cover art for this one a little later on. Everyone's seen a teaser for it. Let's start with Kat. Can you tell us the title of your book and what it's about?
The title of my book is Right Here Waiting, and I feel like I should do like a Golden Girls Sophia Petrillo voice right now and say, picture it, New York City, 1938. Two young men fall in love, and everything is wonderful until World War II erupts. And one of them, the dashing Peter Montgomery, signs up and becomes a United States Army Air Force's bomber pilot. And the love of his life, Ben Williams, has to figure out how he's going to cope with not being able to go with him, how he's going to stay steadfast and true and courageous, and then they have a bunch of adventures. That's it.
Great. Kate, are you with us? Did you make it? We see you, sort of. She's having some audio problems, I think. Let's skip over. You know what? Let's go to Mimsy next. Can you tell us, first of all, tell us the title of your book and a little info. What's going on there?
Well, my book, I'm sure that there'll be some of my readers who aren't very surprised. It's called 100 Days, and it's many different things, the two most paramount of which are a love story between my two protagonists, Aidan and Jake, and it's also my love letter to the United States. It begins when Aidan's left an RV by his grandfather, who passes before the beginning of the story. And these boys decide to go on a road trip to see all 50 states in 100 days, which is ambitious, I think is the buzzword. It covers a lot of themes, including love, change, redemption, coming of age, and kind of moving from that nebulous college stage into true adulthood and what that means for them both separately and together. And at its core, I think it's a story about how what we've always seen on the horizon sometimes needs to change and what that means.
Terrific. Lila, you're up. Tell us about your book.
So mine is called Spice, which you might recognize, and it is the story of Simon Beck, who's a sex and relationship advice columnist whose own love life is kind of a mess, and he's kind of picked out this guy that he's set his sights on, but he's kind of aloof and unattainable. His best friend is getting married, and he's starting to think the most meaningful relationship he'll ever have is the one he has with his dog, until one morning his computer doesn't start, and the sweet, really cute IT specialist comes to fix his computer and maybe something else. And it's kind of the story of taking this picture-perfect, magazine, glossy, idealized relationship and peeling it back to something that's messy and real and imperfect, and that's the lesson that Simon needs to learn.
That's great. Three stories that they're all very different. I mean, very different. Different eras, different themes. Let's see if we can get Kate. Are you back yet, Kate? Do we have you? I'm going to sneak in here. I'm going to read a summary of Kate's book, which is an original title, which we're really excited about, called Love Starved. And it's about Micah, who's a successful programmer, but he's never known love. And so he hires this mysterious man named Angel to help him experience it. And, oh, I hope we get her sound, because I really would love to hear her talk about this book, because we're really excited about it. In the meantime, and keep trying, Kate, I'm curious, particularly, for the three of you who've done, you've got stories that are pretty well known in the fan community. Mimsy, I mean, yours is very recent. Spice, really popular when it ran. Right Here Waiting, this sort of sweeping love story, feels like, not Casablanca, but it's that era. It's that big romantic film with fog machines. It's that kind of. So those are three really different titles. Of course, Kate's also, because this mystical, sexual, cool thing going on. So we're starting the year really in a really eclectic way. But for the three of you who are doing conversion projects, tell us a bit about it. You're all far enough along that you should have a pretty good feel for, was it hard? Was it what you expected it to be? Lila, in particular, how did that compare to Pivot and Slip?
Spice is really more inspired by the original, which is really just kind of a series of vignettes. There wasn't much of a plot, so the actual story of Simon and Benji, that is really all new. It's a lot of original material, and then I took kind of the overall feel and some bits and pieces and the general concept of the original story and made it into something that I feel is pretty new.
By working from a framework rather than a full story and turning it into something wholly new and much more fleshed out, whereas Pivot and Slip was, there was a story there, but you expanded on it a bit. Two very different things. Was one easier, harder than the other?
I feel like Spice was actually easier because it's very much in my wheelhouse. It's a romantic comedy. It's fun, it's funny, it's domestic, which is something I'm really comfortable writing. And the relationship feels more lived in, where it was actually harder with Pivot and Slip because it's darker and it's heavier than what I usually prefer. So it was really fun to write. I think the difficulty was this is a really complex story for me, that they tend to be short and sweet and to the point. So that was difficult, and I wasn't even sure I could pull it off until I pulled it off, and I thought, hey, look, I wrote a novel. Wow.
And you're the first of our authors to publish a second book.
Yeah,
so congratulations on that.
You.
There's in fact, if you purchase Pivot and Slip, you will get an excerpt of Spice.
A little sneak peek.
Mimsy, let's talk about 100 Days. It finished fairly recently. I mean, this is recent memory, this one. It's not a fic that was from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Now, I think it was no secret when you were working on it as fan fiction that you were either simultaneously working on it as a novel or certainly taking notes to rework it into a novel. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true.
How did that help?
Yeah, it did. I mean, you know, my readers know, you know, the fic wrapped at the end of February, beginning of March. I actually wrote the final chapter of it a few days before my birthday, and I had to have the first draft of the novel manuscript in by mid-June. And I actually took off the entire month of March from writing completely just to give my brain a rest and a break from these boys. As much as I love them, they're very frustrating. And so I only actually began the conversion process at the beginning of April. And the process of converting it, I'm not actually entirely sure how I didn't end up with a repetitive strain injury, because it was typing the entire thing from scratch. Not only because the fic is in past tense and the novel is in present tense, but it's something that I wanted to do in terms of experiencing the story all over again as a book. And it was also that it felt like something these characters deserved. They deserved to have their own story told fresh. So it was having the fic open on one side of the screen and the manuscript open on the other and retyping the whole thing.
Oh my goodness. Kate, are you with us now? I see you again. Do we hear you?
I think so. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes! 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 Success!
Hi. Sorry,
Welcome.
I'm on an untested network at my father's, so it keeps cutting me out. So I'm not sure how long I'm going to be here.
Well, if that's the case, we are jumping right into your book. Can you tell us a bit about it? Because this is a brand new one, and we're really excited about it.
I don't know. Did you say anything about it at all?
I like
because I couldn't hear you. So
a tiny little blurb. So go ahead and just start from scratch, because it's much better to hear the author describe it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Love Starved is a story of a man called Micah. He's a data security specialist. He's in his late 20s, and he's very successful in his professional field, but deeply disenchanted in his romantic life after a bad breakup several years before. And one day he decides to hire Angel, who is a high-class escort specializing in recreating or creating fantasy scenarios for his clients. And his own
We lost her. We lost the volume. It was going so well.
Oh,
Kate?
man.
Kate, I want you to keep trying, because it's an interesting book and a really interesting concept. So even if it just means piping in, please do that. In the meantime, we're going to switch over to... Oh, there you are. There you are. You're back. We got you, right?
Okay. When did it cut me?
Just a
Yeah,
moment
I
ago.
think so. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I can hear you. I can see you, but yeah.
We can hear you.
Can
We
you
can
hear
hear you.
me now?
Yes.
Yeah, really, this network is problematic. Okay. When did it catch me? At what point of my description?
Just mere moments ago.
Hello?
We lost you for maybe 10 or 15 seconds. So you had already introduced Angel. Hello, Kate. Well, Kate, if you can hear me, feel free to pop in at any time. Oh, nope, we've lost her. Kat, let's switch to you. Let's talk about this sweeping World War II love story of yours.
Yes. It's a sweeping World War II love story that that is very much. I love that you said it was like Casablanca with the fog machines, because that is exactly what I was envisioning when I wrote it. That it's supposed to be very much an homage to the movies and the novels of the World War II era. Um, um, so that's something that I was really I grew up surrounded by, that especially the music, and that really led me to just be fascinated with all aspects of that time period, the home front culture in the U.S. and what life was like in England during World War II, and life under the French occupation, and life in Germany as well. So.
I'm
Um,
I'm especially interested. This is the first work of historical fiction that we're publishing.
mhm.
How difficult is that? There has to be. You want to go for historical accuracy.
Yes.
How difficult is it to go for that?
Well,
What's involved?
it for me it was, it was very much my métier. It was very much in my wheelhouse, as we say. It's all details that I just kind of already had known. So it's almost like I've been researching for this for my whole life. So I love the culture of the time period. I grew up in a military family, so all of the military things I already knew. The difference between a lieutenant and a captain, the difference between a garrison cap and an overseas cap, and what the uniforms looked like. Those are all things that I already knew. One thing that you guys probably don't know about me yet is that I'm also a giant plane nerd. Like, I love airplanes and I love flying, and um, it's this weird thing that I don't really talk about much on Tumblr, but I do. I love them. And so when I was growing up, I had models and I had schematics and I had posters and I had books about aircraft and how they flew, and what they looked like and how they were built. So researching all of the regular details, the small little nitty-gritty details, was more about double checking that what I remembered was actually correct. Um, and the other bit of research that took me the longest was making sure that the excuse me, the action of the story was plausible. Um, so making sure that the time frame of when the B-17s were in England overlapped with when the Luftwaffe was bombing with airplanes. That was my big headache, trying to make sure that actually it could happen. It could have happened, rather. But yeah, I mean, the story is entirely fictional, and it's supposed to feel like you're watching a movie. So there are no specific dates put in there, and there are no specific places aside from Gramercy Park, where the story starts. It gives you a little place to kind of orient yourself, and then the rest should play as if it is an old movie.
It sounds well. I mean, it does. The way the book develops is like reading a film.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Kate,
good.
Kate, have we got you? Have we got you back, Kate? I see two Kates. Kate, do we have you back? I'm seeing double. I'm going to try Kate. Kate. Okay, failing that. And if you're wondering why Mimsy is muted, it's because she has a very loud computer, and now I'm trying to unmute you. Which it doesn't seem to want to do. Isn't that kind of my computer? So, Lila.
Can I do that?
Oh, there we go. There you go. You can unmute it.
I'm going to mute myself again. It's fine.
I want to talk actually with each of you about the topic of characters, characterization. For those of you who had your book originating as fan fiction and then turned it into original novel, how much work had to go into changing those characters you first had into the characters you ended up with. Lila, you said something very, very interesting, I thought, in the other session, and it was about how with Felix in Pivot and Slip, caught those papers, that was very clever of me, that you wrote it and wrote it and wrote it again until his voice sounded like Felix's voice, and that the rest of it was gone, and that really resonated with me. Did you find yourself in the same position with Spice, or was it the situation again where because you were working with a framework rather than an entire story, it was just a different situation?
Right, because it started more as an inspiration and less as a rework this time. From the very beginning, I started with the characters. So it's very character-driven, so there was less like, how do I make them different, and more like it was already their story. And I was just taking parts of this other story that I liked and thought would fit and put it in this story that I conceptualized for Simon and for Benji.
Mimsy, you've got a pretty extensive cast of characters. You've got a lot of supporting characters. How much work goes into having enough people to fill in 50 states?
Well, I mean, most of the book is actually just them. There's some people that they meet along the way and never see again. There are a few characters who they run into a few times, friends from college who are on tour, because they're all in a band. April being one of them, who is probably one of my favorite original characters in the story. And, you know, converting it from fan fiction to original, it wasn't so much difficult for me, because even from the beginning of writing the fan fiction, 100 Days was always a novel in the back of my mind. And so I did take steps to ensure that while the canon characters would still be recognizable to fanfic readers, they stood apart. And part of that was introducing the supporting cast and creating these entities that would support the story, push the story forward at all times. And I was really, really happy that I got to reimagine the fic as a book, because I fell into that classic trap in the fan fiction of the supporting characters were there to serve, only to serve Kurt and Blaine's story, whereas in the novel they're actually more fully realized, more three-dimensional. They've got their own stuff going on, so they haven't always got time for putting up with Aidan and Jake's ridiculousness. So it was really fun, and I got to create a lot of darlings.
And how many of those darlings are you going to have to kill, or have you killed?
I've killed so many.
That's one of my standard questions. So
yeah, I definitely killed a lot of darlings. Yeah, I mean, in the fic there is a lot of music, and there isn't so much of it in the book, not only for copyright reasons, but I really wanted to challenge myself with the novel, and I did. Another trap I fell into was relying too much on the music to shape specific moments and so on. And I really did want to challenge myself more with the novel. I'm sure I have got more murders coming down the pipeline, because I'm just about to head into my first round of editing. But for every darling I had to kill, I had the opportunity to create 3 more. Whether in terms of better, meatier moments for the characters, or even introducing more supporting characters to the mix, which is something I was really excited to do.
Okay. We're going to try Kate again. Kate. Dang. Let's go to a question here. Ariel asks, I'm very excited. Are these going to be the only 2015 novels? No, these are just the first 2015 novels. We have books all the way through the year at this point. I think we only have a couple of slots open, actually, in 2015. We're very, very fortunate to have a long line of terrific books. And pretty soon we're going to be looking at 2016. Go figure. So we will post that one real quick here so people can see it. And also from Connie, we've got congrats to Mimsy, Lila, Kate, and Kat on your 2015 novels. For those of you reworking from earlier fan fiction stories, how did you select the story that you wanted to rework into a novel, and why? Who would like to jump in there?
I'll jump in, I guess. I really wanted to write a romantic comedy, and I really wanted to write a relationship that wasn't just the beginning of the story, but that we kind of saw through all the ups and downs and ended in a very domestic place, which I can't really get enough of. So Spice just had the feel that I was looking for, I guess, and came up with the characters, and then it kind of took off on me.
How do you go about writing nerdy?
I have enough nerdy people in my life that I was able to draw from. I think Benji in particular is I pieced together a lot of people that I love very much, that are kind of nerdy and really genuinely, this is who I am, for better or for worse, take it or leave it. So I'm very fond of him because of that.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
For me, choosing Right Here Waiting was just kind of a no-brainer. You know, it's already what they call in fan fiction calls an alternate universe, an AU. So it didn't need a heck of a lot of changing. There's been a tremendous amount added, but you know, I had already, when I wrote the story originally, I had already put them in situations in that they never would be in on the TV show, and I had really found myself using the characters as just kind of a framework and infusing them with other personality traits of people that I knew. So for me, the transition from fan fiction to a novel has been more just going back through and allowing, reamping those characteristics and those personalities that I had kind of dampened to put into the fan fiction, to make them fit into kind of the box of the television character. With the novel, I was able to go back through and make them the people that they wanted to be in the first place. So
I have. Go right ahead.
Oh, so that was it was obviously my first choice. It's been my baby, and it's been my kind of constant love ever since. So that's why.
Swoon, she said. Two things I've got to say. Watching, you know, what Google does with an icon. For many reasons, we have a few authors who opt to have their icon on, and that's why you see mountains for Cat. In some cases broadband, in some cases they would just prefer not to be on camera, which we totally respect. But I've got to say, every time I see it do that surge thing around the mountains, I want to sing The Sound of Music. You know, the live.
Well, this is the Alps, so that they might have crossed here. I don't really remember where they crossed, but it's the correct altitude. Let's say that.
Wow. I also got a message on Tumblr from Keep Following Claimbows, and this just gives me an opportunity to explain this. It says, Can I just tell you, I'm getting such a laugh of watching you changing locations for every panel. There's a reason for this that the authors know about, and that is no sooner did we have this whole herding of cats organized, that very day I got a card in my mail from our local power company, Southern California Edison, bless their hearts, announcing that there was a scheduled outage in my neighborhood for today for system maintenance that could go from 9:30 to 3:30 or well beyond that. And we had to scramble for power because it's being hosted from my computer. So that's why I'm actually moving around. The power outage happened in the middle of the 2014 panel, and fortunately I've got a MiFi device, and I've got a inverter that I bought for my car, so I'm powering my laptop from my car, which is parked behind the barn, which is why I'm now in the barn instead of the house, because I can't park the car by any place in the house unless you want to see my garage, and you don't want to see my garage. So unless I'm going to host these things from the car the rest of the day, I'm now located in the barn, though it's really kind of nice out in the vineyard right now, too. Who knows? Maybe I'll be under a tree in the next one. I could be most anywhere. We've got some more questions I'm going to ask from Teach Gleek. Is Kat's book a novella or full novel?
Oh gosh, you know, I do not know. To be quite honest, I do not know. I believe it is a novel. I believe the word count stands that it is long enough to be considered a novel.
I think it is. I can't recall what your word count is.
My word count is I am 868 words short of 60,000 words at the moment.
You would be considered a novel.
And I only know that because I checked that statistic last night just to have encourage
now
myself.
You're considered a novel.
Yes.
We'll see if that stands. Yes. Let's see. We'll just say from Raven. What was the most difficult part in the writing, editing, publishing process? I'm so excited for all these books, Raven says. Who'd like to jump in there? Who's furthest along? That's Lila and Kat. Most difficult part so far?
I mean, since oh, go ahead.
Oh, my part is that when I wrote this story, originally I wrote it very, very quickly, in the space of I think 2 weeks, if not less. And I don't have a beta. I don't have an editor who reads things before I post most of the time. So there are just atrocious grammar kerfuffles all over the place, and
that's a good word.
I like to say that I am temporally flexible, so that I change tenses a lot when I'm writing. And sometimes it is absolutely on purpose, and sometimes it's just because I'm typing too quickly. So the hardest part for me has been going through the whole thing and changing it to a consistent tense. It has been just pulling my hair out trying to. It's a labor of love, and I am so excited and so happy to do it. But I never want to see something in present tense ever again in my writing. I'm very excited for Mimsy.
Tempura-able.
No, no.
Because
Tempura would be lovely.
It's almost lunchtime. That's why I was wondering. Lila, you got anything to add to that one?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The editing and the tiny little things that you don't really realize as you're writing. Since I've been through it with pivot and slip, I think the hardest part is to get it back and to see all those notes down and the things, and you have to kind of step away for a minute and just. So the editing part is really kind of grueling. So I feel more prepared this time, but we're just starting now with Spice, so we'll see if that's actually true, if I'm actually prepared this time or not.
You zipped through on Pivot and Slip pretty quickly. You really did.
Well, you sit down and do it, or I cry about it for days, so I just sit down and get it done.
Yes.
She did great. She did great. She got through there really fast, very efficiently. Let's see. How many books is IP looking to publish next year? And how many do you hope to grow into being able to get out in future years? From Erica. I don't have a hard and fast number for 2015, but I'll tell you, our goal is typically to aim for 2 books a month. There are occasional exceptions to that for different reasons, whether it's, for example, if we're starting a new episodic work, that might influence it, but also let's say that we've got a title that we suspect has very strong potential in the general audience market, that starts sort of in fandom, and our goal for all the novels is to bridge to a general audience. We want to get some bestsellers, and we're going to try very hard to do it. If we suspect that the launch audience is large enough, and we've got a couple titles that, without giving anything specific away, do have 1 million hits or more in their original online versions, and we think these are titles that could take off, then we may dedicate a month to that title and to trying to promote it. Not that all of that promotion happens in the fan community. Some of it would be concentrated on, say, virtual book tours to general market book bloggers, to trying to get the books placed and reviewed in magazines, and that all takes quite a lot of time. And so if we feel that's necessary for that sort of launch for a very big title, maybe it's a big title in terms of the size too, because the larger the book, the greater the investment, and that means you really have to make quite a marketing push to cover the expense of that. It's not cheap to publish a novel. It costs quite a bit. So all of those things get factored in, but our goal ultimately is 2 books a month for now. Where that goes in the future, we'll see. Right now, we don't intend to become a big publishing house. We like the idea of being a smaller indie press, so we can concentrate not just on the book but on the author as well, and that's part of our business plan, is that we like to spend time with the author and really kind of help them through some things that sometimes slip through the cracks at the larger publishing houses. So we don't expect to be churning books out by the dozens every month. For right now, our goal is 2 a month. So there you go on that one. That is a very long answer for not such a long question. We never got Kate back. We're going to try to get Kate back, maybe in a later broadcast. I'll see if we can get her back on and get a better connection. Please go away, Mr. Helicopter. The downside of being in the barn is you can hear every truck or helicopter go by. Let's see, what else have we got? From Amber, what advice, and this is open to any of you, what advice would you give to fan fiction writers who would like to make the move to more novel-based work?
I'm going to jump in here. My experience, and this is probably not that helpful, maybe in a roundabout way, it's not what you know, it's who you know. There's so much to be said for networking and working hard, not only on the story behind the scenes, but building a readership for yourself, whether it's just by promoting your book or story, and making sure that you're constantly out with something new, something that readers are going to want to see, and being consistent, becoming an author that people can trust. If you're publishing a work in progress like I did with the original of 100 Days, it originally posted weekly, and then when I had enough of a push and written, it moved to twice weekly, and people came to rely on me for that, and it helps, just consistency, being reliable.
I would definitely say reliability, but also, write. Don't just write. Write something that you care about. Write from your heart. Write what you know. Write what you something you've experienced. Take a funny situation that's happened to you. excuse me, something that's made you laugh, and tell that situation as if you're one of the characters. Put the characters in that situation and have them go through it. Use things from your real life, because when you try to make things, you know, outlandish and completely fantasy right from the get-go, it often doesn't ring true, and then people don't connect to it. You want to make a connection with your reader. So write funny stuff, write silly stuff, write things that you find interesting. If you're passionate about it, your readers are going to get that, and they will become passionate about it as well.
Mm-hmm. And I would add to both of those, keep going. I know that's kind of annoying advice, but as someone who got frustrated and gave up and thought it's never going to happen, you have to be willing to, even when it looks hopeless, keep going, keep writing. That's just my mantra in whatever I'm writing, whatever I'm doing, just keep going.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
That's the next story. Someone's going to write about a fish.
Oh, fish romance.
On Mars.
You
I think it's becoming really obvious that I've been up for 30 hours straight. Just wait till it gets to be the end of the evening when I break open the champagne, because I fully intend to be drinking by the end of all this. Okay, so we're getting down near the end of it, and I see some more questions here that we want to get to, and in fact I'm going to keep them in mind and hold them for another panel later. So we're not forgetting about you. You've got great questions, but we want to do the rapid fire round here. Some quick questions. I hear, and I know where the groan came from. It came from the Alps.
It did! The Alps were alive with, oh no!
Well, you knew it was coming. You knew it was.
I did.
The question is, will I surprise you or not here? So, rapid fire. And, you know, what's really bad about me asking is I hate these questions, too. I don't like answering these kinds of questions because I never have a favorite. I've got a dozen favorites. First fic you ever read? Go. Kat, I'm putting you on the spot.
Was Someone Like You. Someone Like You by Iconic Clean, and simultaneously I read Little Numbers, and the two of them like just made my brain explode with happiness and joy, and boom, I was in like Flynn, as they say.
Yep, that pretty much did it to me too. Lila?
Mine is kind of embarrassing. Like my first concert, which was New Kids on the Block, and my first fic. My first fic was actually a Twilight fic that I was kind of horrified by, and just randomly searched the internet, and that was a terrible idea. And then when I finally found my way to Glee fanfic, I don't remember the fic in particular, but I know it was Slightest Wind. So that was when I saw, okay, this is what fan fiction can be. So that sucked me in for sure.
Yes, agreed. Mimsy?
I don't want to say mine.
It can't be worth it.
If it's medical porn, I am gonna like send you.
No, it was nothing like that. I've been in and out of fandoms for a lot of years, probably more than my parents, who I believe are watching this, realize. I've been in and out of fandoms since I was 14, and the very first fandom for which I ever read fic, and wrote it as well, which thank God has now been purged from the internet, was Lord of the Rings, and actually that was the first time I was ever introduced to slash fic. At the tender age of 14, I did not know what I had clicked on. I didn't know what any of the ratings meant. And so there's me sitting in my town public library reading gay porn on one of the library computers.
That a girl, Mimsy.
Bravo.
Hi, Mimsy's mom and dad.
Now you know.
I was just about to ask the "tell us one thing we don't know about you" question, but I have a feeling you just answered it. But I'm going to ask you anyway, Mimsy, and I'm making you go first.
Okay, actually, okay, so I racked my brains for this because I'm really open about myself on Tumblr. But Mimsy Hale, as pretty much everyone knows, is my pen name. But what they don't know is that that's mostly because I'm not such a fan of my real name, and that's because I was named after a really bad 80s song. Thanks, Dad.
Wait,
I'm not telling you what it is.
Bad? No, but you know what? I'm going to figure it out. Bad 80s song named after. By the end of the day, I'm going to have your name down. It's my mission. Bad 80s song. Oh, rack the brain. I've got an hour between sessions. I'm looking stuff up. Lila, what do we not know about you?
Gosh, two interesting things about me. I guess people don't really know that I married my high school sweetheart, and we've been together for a while, and we're kind of annoyingly happy still, so I think most people know that.
My dog grunted in support.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
There you go. You know, when you get an English sheepdog grunt, that's a positive thing. Kat, what do we not know about you? World traveler.
I'm a world traveler. I have been. Oh, that's a good one. I have been on a bunch of different continents. I have been to Tibet, which I guess if you know me as Nits, you know that I mentioned that just a little bit ago. I've spent time in Italy. I've been to Scotland and London and all over the world. And so I had to get extra pages in my passport. There we go. There's a fact. I had to get extra pages in my passport.
Ooh, that's impressive. Extra pages in the passport is always good. Always good.
Scandalous, but true.
Okay, we're gonna wrap it up, but first, we have ebooks to give away. We have raffle prizes to announce. I'm going to announce Kate's for her since we had some real problems with connectivity, and I really hope we get her back because she's got a very interesting book. And of course, she's got the one I can't pronounce. It's like the fish, ahi, A-H-I, Viennes, V-I-E-N-E-S, ahi Viennes. It's like a French fish. That's all I can think. So, Ahivians, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing. You get Kate's book when it comes out on DRM-free multi-format. These are really great ebooks. Mimsy, who gets a book?
Well, who gets two books? Yeah, in addition to the multi-format DRM-free ebook, I also yesterday ran a 24-hour contest for someone to win a free signed physical copy, and funnily enough, the same person won both of them, and that is Tumblr user Originally.
Congratulations, Originally. You'll be hearing from us. Lila, who's your winner?
It is Simone, whose Twitter handle is something I'm going to say probably really wrong. Mkandeya, Mkandeya is the winner.
Congratulations. And Kat, who have you got?
I have a Twitter user that I'm going to go out on a limb and say is Woneh. W1NNEH. I don't know if it's Woneh or Winnie, but whatever it is, I love it.
Wherever the accent is, it's said with gusto.
Yes, it's gusto. It's said with gusto, exactly.
Also, we will randomly be giving, randomly, if your question got on the broadcast, we'll be sending you some sort of, we call it swag, it's actually cheap, cool stuff. But you know what, we're going to include this one with this group because of Right Here Waiting. And the fact that there's letter writing involved, and we have this, people don't write letters enough. I love letters. And so if someone has notes to write, the Italian stationery or one of our commenters, we will go through the comment and find maybe the question that got the biggest answer, the most, oh boy, I'm about to structure a sentence all wrong. Let's just say that the greatest volume of answer to whatever question that was, you get the Italian stationery. We will track you down and make you write thank you notes. And on that note, we're pretty much at the end of our hour. Thanks so much to Kat Beldon with Right Here Waiting, which comes out, where'd my cheat sheet go? January 2015. Wait till you see the cover.
Wait till you see the cover. I sat down, so I was standing up. I sat down so hard as soon as I saw the cover. I sat down so hard I broke my chair. I will post a picture of my broken chair to prove to you that that's how shocked, that's how just blown away I was.
We are all not only in love with the cover, we are in love with the man on the cover, front and back. Front and back. Yeah. It is absolutely stunning. Lila, your book, Spice, comes out in early January, but you can get a sneak peek now in Pivot and Slip, another book with a stunningly gorgeous cover. And last but not least, actually not last, you're next to last because we're going to declare Kate's too. Mimsy, 100 Days, the road trip that just keeps on ticking through all 50 states, comes out in February, or is scheduled for a February release.
Hopefully for my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday in February. And last but not least, and we're going to try and get her back on the air if we can get a connection going, in March, Kate Fierro's Love Starved, which really is an interesting book, and hopefully we can get her so she doesn't sound like she's in a submarine in another hour this afternoon. Otherwise, we'll post something to our site. We will get her talking about this, and we'll just post it to the Interlude website one of these days. Did I just say what I think I just said? Never mind. We'll keep going. That's it for the hour. Next, boy, I need sleep. Next up, in an hour from now, we're going to be talking to a bunch of 2015 authors who will not be able to confirm their titles, though you perhaps might be able to puzzle a few of them out. These are people who have also taken a story that they originally wrote in fan fiction and completely re-envisioned them, sometimes very dramatically. Our guests will include, and we're going to have her pronounce it for everybody because it's hotly debated. Is it Shazam or is it Shazam?
I think it's Shazam.
I think it's Shazam too. This is where I'm putting my money, but it's hotly debated. Also, word playing. We will also have Glitter Damarung. We will also have Zavocado. So I suspect there will be a lot of girls watching, perhaps proposing to him. The man has his own set of fangirls that follow him around. It's amazing. Also joining us will be A.J. DeWall, who wrote the very beautiful Forever Man, which has received a starred review from Publishers Weekly and is also going to be featured in the fall edition of Forward Reviews. We also got some very big news about it, which we will announce during that broadcast. Just today, we got additional news about it, which is really, really exciting for the company and I think for AJ as well. And since the storm blacked her out from her own panel, she'll be talking a little bit about it at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. Thanks, everybody, and hope we see you all again at 1 o'clock Pacific time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.